Wise Guys is excited to announce a partnership with BYU Pathway Worldwide. Each month on this show, we'll receive pass on news and information about BYU Pathway, including interviews from folks, graduates from around the world who've used BYU Pathway as a way to improve their lives. And with that said, our next guest is a BYU grad with an MBA from Harvard. Education a big part of his life, working to increase learning opportunities around the planet. As the president of BYU Pathway Worldwide, it's our pleasure to welcome Brian K. Ashton to the Wise Guys. Thank you for being here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with football, though.
Okay.
And we want your assessment of Saturday's battle. Two very highly acclaimed academic institutions in Stanford and BYU out on the field of battle. BYU and Stanford going at it. BYU is victorious in this one. What are your thoughts on the game?
I mean, the defense was incredible.
Right.
And the offense, if they clean up some things, will look really, really good. So
amen to that.
I'm very excited about where it's going.
Who was your quarterback when you went through school?
Ty Detmer.
Nice. Well played. Yeah. That was a good time.
I was there on the 40-yard line, about 5 yards up or 5 rows up, when we beat Miami.
Oh, man.
Did you charge the field?
I don't remember if I charged the field. I think we did.
I think everyone did that was down low.
That was a long time ago.
I'm old enough that I called that game, but I just remember the electric atmosphere before the game even started.
Oh, absolutely.
And it never dissipated.
Yeah.
It seemed like the electricity was up here from start to finish. Did you feel that as a fan?
I did. In fact, I actually watched this game the other day. I had surgery, and I couldn't sleep, and so I pulled it up and watched the whole game again.
Nice.
That's great.
You know, there was an energy at the stadium the other night. It was Stanford, and BYU was a big favorite. And then the week before, it was Portland State, and they were even bigger favorite. But that Miami night was big because they were number one. But it seems like every night is big now at the stadium. They're sold out, and it's just where people want to be, and you can feel it.
Yeah. In our family, everybody wants to go every weekend. And not everyone gets to go every weekend. So sometimes we have some unhappy people.
How do you divvy the We have the same problem. Is there a better method than how are you guys divvying these out? Because we're not being great at this.
We're just letting the younger kids go first.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sports can be a powerful tool for good in the lives of so many. We've seen how members of this BYU football team have been mentors for students in other countries through BYU Pathway. How's that going?
It's going great. I mean, guys like Chase Roberts and Tanner Wall and Connor Pay last year have been mentors to these students. And Kalani says, you know, when you're involved in something bigger than yourself, it really makes a difference. It helps keep you grounded. And for those students, it makes a huge, huge difference. I'll just tell you one quick story. We have one student who's in Kenya. His wife took a trip to do some business and was raped and murdered. And he was left with some kids and just had a really hard time. And I think it was Tanner who was mentoring him. He struggled at first. He got some remote jobs and struggled. But he's overcome it. He's doing great. That mentoring has made a huge difference. And his current employer just said he's amazing. So
it's interesting that and Blaine was a football player, so he knows this. But there's something special. And I've seen the Zoom calls, right, with the football team and 100 or 50.
And the prayers.
And the prayers we've heard at LaVell Stadium. But there is something special about talking to a football player. What is it?
I think it's just, you know, they're excited about life. You talked about the energy at the stadiums. I mean, they feel that. Let me tell you one other quick story. You know, we had that first prayer, and we got a letter from a football player. This one was in, I think it was in Nigeria. In fact, it was in Nigeria. And he wrote us and he said, I'm a football player. I'd like to try out for the BYU football team. And then he sent us a tape. And of course, he was a soccer player.
That different kind of football, right?
And we explained, you know, different kind of football, and we had a great talk. But he ended up joining the church.
Really?
Because he was so excited about this partnership and what he learned. He ended up joining the church. He's now a BYU Pathway student. He was at the time then too, but has done really, really well. And it's just amazing what this partnership has done in, you know, far-flung places all over the world.
Yeah. And so, to clarify, you don't have to be a member of the church to benefit from BYU Pathway, right?
Right. We have, education is typically, there's been a limited number of seats. When you're online, you have an unlimited number of seats. And so we're able to have, a number of non-members come, and they don't have to get baptized. We want them to learn, and we want them to grow. But many of them choose to come and make covenants with Jesus Christ through baptism.
Right. Brian K. Ashton, president of BYU Pathway Worldwide, is on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus Mountain America Credit Union. And Eddie, Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News, and our live stream has brought folks in again tonight from all over the world. In what ways have you seen additional education change a person's life?
Oh, we're here to receive light. Right? Light and truth. That's what Doctrine and Covenants 88 teaches us. Doctrine and Covenants 93. And education is one of those ways you can do it. In fact, DNC 88 says that you're to learn by study and by faith. And study is one of those key things, and we help you do both. There's a religious component and there's an academic component. And so we have seen people go from being told their whole lives, you're not college material, to then coming into BYU Pathway, gaining confidence, doing really well, and growing in their lives. They get great jobs. We have a young woman from Africa who ended up working. She was in a abusive marriage. She was forced into a marriage at 14, had 4 kids, couldn't leave her home. Eventually, had to sneak out, and she foraged in the forest for 1 meal a day for her kids. But she joined the church. She found out about BYU Pathway, said, all I wanted was a chance. And she ended up working for a venture capital firm in Chicago.
Wow.
So many great stories. Yeah. So in the BYU education family, there's BYU Provost campus, the mothership, BYU Idaho, BYU Hawaii, Ensign College. How does BYU Pathway fit into this group?
So each institution in the church educational system has a role. Our role is to be the access provider. And so we help provide confidence to students, and we take the programs of these other institutions, currently mostly BYU, Idaho and Ensign College, and take them all over the world and make them accessible to people there. So.
Financially, and I read this on BYUpathway.org because there's everything there. How does it stack up against traditional college costs, which is another big reason why kids out of high school go, I can't afford to go to college?
Yeah. So we are the most inexpensive bachelor's degree in the United States, $6,500. And then
for the entire bachelor's degree?
For the entire bachelor's degree. And it's a 3-year degree. We were the first one in the United States. And so that 3-year bachelor's degree offered by, accredited by Ensign College or BYU Idaho, you can get for a really low cost. If you live outside the United States, it's much less expensive. So Latin America is $1,500, Africa is $300. So it's amazing what the church makes possible.
Yeah. That is cool. President Brian K. Ashton of BYU Pathway Worldwide on the Wise Guys, which has been being seen around the world on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. As people listen to this and look for more information, the first thought that comes to mind is, where can I get more information to sign up?
So go to BYUpathway.edu and you can sign up. If you want to join, if you want to get your degree through BYU Pathway, it takes about 5 minutes to fill out the application, and we'd love to have you.
And it's that easy for a reason, because you want people to do it.
Yeah, the whole point is to make education available to anyone.
Yeah.
Dave mentioned when GIF was on that the slogan, "The world is our campus," right? When you think about this as you're coming to BYU, and then you think about BYU Pathways, BYU TV that Dave and I do a bunch of things for, is a global entity now. Pathway is everywhere in the world. It's easy to see how the statement rings true more than ever.
Yeah. We're in 192 countries.
My goodness.
So anywhere you go in the world, basically, there's BYU Pathway, and there's access to a spiritually based, low-cost education through the church educational system.
So where's it going? Is it going to every country? Is it where you have Wi-Fi, you can be a BYU Pathway student? What is the sky the limit?
President Eyring told me that he said, you will teach the whole world. He said they're not ready for religion, but they are ready for education. And we see that all the time. I mean, I'm constantly meeting with cabinet ministers of education, prime ministers, and they say, this is what we need here. They can't build more campuses in their countries. It's just too expensive.
Yeah.
And so this gives them an opportunity. The other thing that we do is because of COVID-19, you can now get a remote job. 60% of our students live in areas where they're just, the labor markets don't work very well. There aren't a lot of jobs, and they don't pay well if there are jobs. And there's so much labor that oftentimes, they'll just have you work and they won't pay you because there's someone else who will do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of our students end up getting remote jobs working for companies here in the United States, in Western Europe, in Australia, places like that. And they're able to stay home, build the kingdom of God in their countries, and it makes just a huge difference. So if anyone out there is listening and they want some really high quality people with a US-based education that speak English well, that can work across borders, talk to us. The guy you want to call actually is Isaiah Kafusi.
Okay, Isaiah Kafusi.
That's our guy right
he's
there.
helping us with that. And actually, I'll give you his email address. But,
Yes.
Sorry, 1 second.
So Isaiah's been on our pregame show and our postgame shows
Right.
over the years. And of course, we watched him play at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. And there's a big guy with a big smile that's very impactful.
Isaiah's awesome. Connor Pay is also helping. But you can reach Isaiah at emx-1.com.
Isaiah at enx-1.
EM is in Mary,
Okay.
x-1.com.
And when we reach out to Isaiah, what's he going to tell us?
He's going to tell you he loves working with BYU Pathway students. He's going to say they give him hope. And, that's something we all need. It's interesting. We have all these problems here in the United States that are first world problems. And, 48% of our students are in Africa. When Elder Nielsen said there's probably 20,000 students in Nigeria, he was exactly right. That's how many there are. And they don't have all the blessings we have. But that forces them to rely upon God, and that faith gives them hope. And they just smile, and they're happy. And, they don't have all the things we have, but that's okay. They don't have to worry about the things we worry about.
That's true. That's true. We're looking forward to telling the BYU Pathway story through our medium of Wise Guys by interviewing your graduates from other countries and letting them just say, hey, here's what it did for me. And in visiting with the staff and as we've worked this together, part of the challenge is to let everyone know that it exists. And
I used to tell my team, I wish we had a football team. Everyone would know what BYU Pathway does.
That's true.
And Kalani's been great to include us and to say, they're the football team for everyone. But, BYU Pathway started as the Pathway program, and it was a way to get into BYU Idaho. It's grown significantly beyond that. Now it's a way to get a bachelor's degree anywhere in the world. And anyone, whether you've just graduated from high school or you're 99, we'll take you, and we're excited to have you, and you'll learn by study and by faith, and you'll have the Holy Ghost more in your life.
And if they have a jump shot, you know Kevin Young, and you can pass that information
That's exactly
along.
right.
That is fantastic. Let's do 5 questions for President Ashton, presented by Strategy Square. Let Chantel help your business boost its productivity through social media. You can reach her at strategysquare.com. By the way, Chantel is a product of BYU Pathway.
Thank you, Chantel.
And it's blessed her life, and she's been a big part of us and our growth.
And by the way, we've only talked about the students outside the United States. We
That's
have
true.
24,000 students in the United States.
Yeah, Chantel she coordinates all of our social media for us, and this is where she got her degree.
Yeah.
And she does a fantastic job for us.
And we have a great social media program.
Yeah, awesome. That's
Sweet
really cool.
deal. Okay, here come 5 questions. You'll be judged by these.
Okay.
Yes, and this is forever out there. And
And if I get them wrong, my kids will
no,
give
there's
me a
no
hard
wrong.
time
Yes,
forever.
they will.
There's no wrong. There may be some will make fun of you,
Maybe
but no,
question.
we won't do that. We won't do that. And you just have to say the first thing that comes to your head. So, what's your favorite sports movie?
Probably Hoosiers.
Classic.
Ah,
That is a classic.
do you know who's his Hoosiers? Marie.
Marie Osmond?
Marie Osmond's his Hoosiers. Yeah, she came on the show and she just Hoosiers. Like, yeah, you're married to a basketball.
We don't think Steve Craig made her say Hoosiers. I think she actually
She actually likes
loved
that movie.
Hoosiers.
It's a great movie.
It's a great one. So, okay, your favorite singer or band?
Your
Oh,
kids
boy.
will judge you on this
My
one.
kids will judge me on this. I really like Five for Fighting, although recently I have listened to a Christian singer by the name of Laura Story, who I've really enjoyed.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that one up, Lore Story. But we know Five for Fighting.
Yeah, we
I
do.
can't stand to fly. That one, right?
Yeah.
Lovely story.
I'm not that naive. I have to sing every show. Okay, Five for Fighting. I love that one. Favorite breakfast cereal?
Well, if it has to be a cereal, it's oatmeal with raisins.
Okay.
What if it didn't have to be a cereal?
It would be a yogurt parfait with blueberries.
Okay. All right. That's how you roll.
But in it, does the yogurt parfait have some granola in it?
I love it with granola, but it doesn't have to.
So, because it might constitute a sort of cereal if it's granola in the yogurt.
That's fair. That's
So,
fair.
okay.
Oatmeal with raisins. You lost me at raisins, but we've
No,
all grown
I
up
like-
on oatmeal.
So my dad is 90, and I was over at his house yesterday, and he put this concoction together. He had a big bowl, and it had yogurt and oatmeal and raisins and cranberries, and I was like, man, no wonder he made it to 90. This is the healthiest, best looking thing I've ever seen.
Sounds like a man after my own heart.
It was great. So, okay, your favorite BYU moment. And it doesn't have to be a sports moment. You're just your favorite BYU moment ever.
I mean, of course, it's the Miracle Bowl
Miracle Bowl.
and Jim McMahon's pass to Clay Brown.
Were you there or were you watching it?
No, I was watching it, and I was pretty young. I remember my brother and I went in the other room right before that final play and prayed that they'd win. Now, I don't encourage my kids to do that, and it probably wasn't the right thing to do, but boy, we were invested in that game.
And listen, I was at a deacon's corn party, and we were sure we were going to lose. We were out playing football in the snow, and then we came in and watched the finish, which was spectacular. So you went in, you left the room, you asked for some intervention, and 2 Catholics hooked up for the big pass.
We didn't care how it happened. We just wanted to win.
That's awesome.
It's great stuff.
And then, as Lavelle says, a return missionary kicked the extra point.
That's right.
That's
right.
how that went down.
Number 5, and then we have a bonus one for you, but number 5 is your favorite BYU Pathway moment.
Oh, boy, that one's hard. Probably, I was in Brazzaville in the Republic of the Congo in June, and we held a graduation. And not only were people graduating and speaking English, this is a French-speaking country. I mean, and there were so many people that the building we had wasn't big enough. They actually had to put a tent out in the street. There were literally hundreds of people there. And these students who had followed over 3 years were just exuding confidence. They ran it. It was like night and day. And then and they had fun. We could learn a lot from them in graduations. There wasn't lots of speeches, and you didn't have to sit there. We danced.
It was actually a celebration.
It was a celebration.
That sounds
I love
good.
that.
But what I really loved about it was the couples that came up that were getting married, and the people who had increased their faith and had made covenants with the Lord. And that was it was one of the most remarkable experiences of my life.
I love that story. So my wife's family, my mother and father-in-law opened the Congo up.
Did they really?
Yeah, they were called on a mission to serve in Kinshasa, Zaire.
Yeah.
And there was a little break in the civil war there, and they said, here's a list of names of people that left the Congo and went to study in other places that are back in the Congo. We're going to have a limited bit of time here. You go across the river into Brazzaville, and you gather these saints, and you organize a branch, and you do some baptizing, and we don't know how long you're going to be there, but when we leave, there has to be enough strength for that country to sustain itself. So they went over. You look in the archives, it talks about Brother and Sister Birmingham, and there's pictures of him pulling people out of the river of being baptized. And so they established it. It wasn't that long that they were there. They went back, but there was enough leadership there. And look at what has happened in the Congo now.
Well, whatever they did a great job, and I'm sure the Lord helped them. But he had good servants to help.
Yeah. So that's a big part of my family's history.
Congratulations.
Very cool. That's
right,
good stuff.
Let's do our bonus question.
Here's the bonus question.
And then I have something for you guys.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be great. What's your birthday wishes? We're going to allow you to do this over, your birthday wishes for President Nelson, who turns 101 tomorrow.
President Nelson is one of the kindest people you'd ever want to meet. And we sit in our board meetings and I get to watch him. And he just exudes joy. And I think it's hard being 101.
It has to be.
And so I know what it's like to get old, but I don't have any idea what it's like to be 101. And so my hope is that he's happy, he's comfortable, and he has family with him.
Yeah, those are great wishes. Fantastic.
Well,
What you got there?
I brought some shirts for you, some BYU-Pathway shirts.
Oh, nice.
This is my first time really being up close to you guys in person, and we probably have the wrong size. So I'll send you a different size, but...
we both are larges. We both do large.
Well, these are extra larges, and so we'll have to get you a large.
I would have been an extra large back in my playing days, but I'm a lot lighter, which is a good thing.
We're thrilled to be partners together in spreading the word of BYU Pathway worldwide, what it can do for people. And you're welcome to come on here whenever you want.
Let me mention one other thing.
Okay.
Jane Clayson Johnson did a documentary on BYU Pathway that's going to be on BYU TV. It's going to play between sessions of conference here in October, so we'd encourage your viewers to watch that.
3 weeks on BYU TV.
On BYU TV between sessions of conference.
Jane was my student when I was in graduate school.
Was she really?
She had Comms 101. I was a teaching assistant at that time. And
Well, you did a great job with it.
She was amazing, actually. Best student we had.
We'll hit that again on next week's show and the week leading into General Conference, too, for a lot of folks to check that out. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we look forward to having many of your graduates on the show, and they can talk about how through BYU Pathway they were able to change their life for the better, and that'll be outstanding.
Thanks. And you'll love meeting them.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Thanks, guys.
President Ashton, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
And we're glad you and Giff could hang out for a little bit. When Giff found out you were coming, I think that's why he talked so much, because he knew he was going to stay on until you got here so you guys could visit.
Well, he's got a great love for Western Africa, as you know.
And he and Wendy are terrific.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. All right, that's President Ashton, BYU Pathway Worldwide.